One of the most satisfying things in racing is seeing a dirty driver get the karma that they deserve. Before we hop into today's race, I just wanted to share with you guys this clip where we get exactly that. The BMW driver has been driving enthusiastically, to put it nicely, as he gives us a nice little squeeze against the railing. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to shake us, and we're right behind him one lap later. So we're keeping an eye on him. We know he's not one necessarily to be trusted. So we take it fairly cautiously here, and see ya. I think my favorite part of that whole situation was I wasn't even trying to pit maneuver him. He was just trying to block me and ended up setting himself into the wall, so there you go. Better luck next time, I guess. So without any further ado, let's hop right into today's race. We're at Grand Valley Highway 1 in the Genesis. A good choice for today's track. I did initially pick the Porsche, tried a couple races with it, but just found the Genesis had a little bit more straight line speed compared to the other cars. As you can see here, a perfect example, just getting a little bit more in terms of straight line speed, getting past the Mercedes and moving up a position. A little bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Audi, and Dylan spins out of today's race. We almost do the same coming up here as Dorkman, a complete Dorkman there. I don't know why you were going so slow, but yeah, we're in the wall, we're in the barrier, but we're not last, so that is something. Unfortunately, I'm going just a little bit too slow, and Yay 9 bumps into the back of us and ends up spinning out, so we do apologize for that. But there you go. We're in P11, another Mustang off into the barrier. Not a great track for the Stangs. And coming up here, Shrades forgets to turn left and decides he wants to just take a look out at the scenic view. And one nut and two toes says, "Hey, I'm with you. Let's check this site out." So we've done a pretty good job so far, moving up from P15 to P7. And I just want to remind you guys of that before you judge what's about to happen, because I don't know what happened there, and I just want to forget it. So if we could just leave that out of the comments, that would be great. And let's get back into today's race. So we've got about a 2-second gap between ourselves and Chief Queeb. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's what we're gonna call you, Chief Queeb. And we got our first driver into the pits, Logan, going for the mediums, and that puts us into P6 starting lap number 2. So I'm fairly new to sim racing, and more so new to these daily races with the tire strategies. And I have noticed a few drivers go for a really early pit stop. Not entirely sure why. Chief Queeb absolutely wild in, going a little bit too deep into the hairpin, and we're able just to sneak past him. One of my theories for the early pit stop is you let everyone kind of go past you. You're with some fresh tires, although, you know, it's not much fresher, but you do get some open roads. So if you got a fast lap time, you're able to kind of take advantage of that and go a little bit quicker without having to worry about too much traffic. And hello. Very lucky for the ghost there. But yeah, like I was saying, you're kind of stuck with some worn out tires after that, so I'm not sure if that's the best strategy, and we definitely didn't opt for that. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys think. Do you guys go for an early pit stop, or do you do something more like what I do and I think we go for a pit stop pretty late, actually, maybe lap 5 or 6. CP there deciding that the chicane is optional today. And we're heading into lap 3 pretty soon here, about a second behind the Americans. And would you look at that? A familiar face. Blank face 24, making his presence felt to CP. And here is where we get our first glimpse of just how devoted some of these drivers are to keeping their position. I don't even know how he pulled that one off. But unfortunately, we do end up nudging CP out of the way as well. But obviously, that was an accident, guys, so don't cancel me, please. Putting the BMW under quite a bit of pressure, trying to force an error out of him going into the hairpin. And he almost slips out there, but makes a good recovery. So he's doing a decent job under pressure here. A little bit of interesting braking. But he's still got the position on us, so gotta give him that. Almost running into the back of him on multiple occasions there, but able just to avoid any penalties and stay close behind him as we look down the inside here. But nothing there. Looking for the switchback and just a little bit too far behind, and this looks familiar. I just love how blatantly obvious he is about it too. Like, he literally has to go back to the left just to make this corner entry, which he does a great job of, by the way. Just beautiful lines that I get to witness here. And how is there no penalty for that? I'm just realizing he didn't get a penalty. What? So if you thought that defensive driving before was bad, I've got something for you. It only seems fitting that this is a BMW driver. This is just... what am I watching here? I think at this point, these 2 love taps are well warranted, but unfortunately I lose a little bit of traction in the rear and fall behind a little bit, but we know we're faster than Blank Face. We just need to get past him in one piece. Alright, that one was actually an accident. You can check the footage, my foot was on the brake. That one, we won't talk about that one. Going to this next long left-hander, we're able to get a much better line than Blank Face, and we find ourselves just behind him, right on his bumper, putting lots of pressure going into the next turn. So Blank Face goes a little defensive here, taking more of the inside line, but he overshoots, and doesn't this look familiar? Taking a peek down the inside once again and seeing what we can do here on this exit. And, well, you've seen it already, but it does not get old. See you later. Ooh, sorry. Not sure what happened there. Probably need to have a talk with my editor. Alright, one last time. Alright, we're done. Fast forward to lap number 5. We're in P2 with Vexed about 10.5 seconds in front of us, so we got quite a bit of work to do. Neither of us have pit yet, so we've still got that to look forward to, and we are actually falling behind a little bit here. Just easing onto the throttle in first, being careful not to spin out there, which we've done on countless occasions before. And again here, making sure we're just keeping the throttle nice and calm, sending it into first gear and onto the throttle and into the tunnel. Making some good time here as we've trimmed off about 1.5 seconds on Vexed, and we're starting to pull away from Blank Face, which can only be a good thing. Man, Vex has had probably one of the loneliest races of his career, and I find that does happen sometimes when you're just in P1 all the time. Not that that's me ever, but you know, when there's no one there to chase, even in my situation now, it's really easy to lose focus, and you can see something's going on up there as we've gained another 1.5 seconds out of nothing, so we'll take it. Heading into lap number 6 in P2, about 7.5 seconds behind. So I usually start braking around 300 here, going into first just to get as close as I can to the apex. I usually stay in third, but I think I was going a little too wide, so I popped back down into second. Hugging the corners here as tight as you can without going onto the dirt is what I find is ideal. Braking around 200 there, again going into first for rotation and being really gentle on the throttle here. Cutting across the double yellows. I haven't quite figured out this corner yet, but I do, yeah, as you can see, I'm losing a little bit of time through this sector, but coming into here we gain quite a bit of time, and going into the tunnel, braking around 100 here, into first, into third right away, just so that we don't spin out, which we've done too many times, so we do learn eventually. And finally, after about 2 laps, I think, of chasing, we're just able to see the back of Vexed as he enters the tunnel here. Now, I find I can only get the car to rotate if I'm in first there, but I have seen a couple people take that corner in second, so maybe it's a skill issue. So we're coming into just before lap number 7, and here's where we decide to pit, go for the mediums, no need to refuel, but Vexed actually stays out, which was quite surprising to me. I think I was looking at my tires and they were pretty worn, so I can't imagine what his look like and when he'll decide to go for the pit. So we do lose one position to Peloton, and we're about 6.7 seconds behind him starting lap number 7, so the chase is on. And remember when I was telling you guys to be careful with your throttle input here? Well, this is why. Just a little bit too much throttle on the fresh tires and we spin out into the barrier. Luckily, we don't get any penalties, but we lose a lot of time and a lot of dignity, probably a lot of confidence as well. So we're about 12 seconds behind Peloton now, and going down the straight, let's see what we can do. Somehow we're picking up time. It's the Genesis, I'm telling you. So again, not sure what the best method is for getting through here. Sometimes I like to stay in first gear, sometimes I find second works best. But we're gaining a little bit of time on Peloton regardless, so Going into lap number 8 here in P3, about 10 seconds behind. Let's see what we can do. Staying to the left and hitting the brakes hard as we pass the 300 board. Down into first, tight apex, and trying to leave this corner in third gear I find gives you a nice run down here. Getting up into fifth as quickly as you can and staying nice and tight to the apex, just trying to avoid any of the dirt and braking just past the 300 there, going a little bit too deep, but nice and smooth on the throttle does it here. And as we cross the double yellows, we're just going to apply a little bit of trail braking and pop down into second to rotate the car, being really gentle on the throttle. Do we learn from our mistakes? Wow. We do. Look at that. Down into first. Popping into third as quickly as you can just to keep the car nice and stable. Hugging the railing there, back into third and down the straight, flat out. And coming up here, the track actually opens up to the left a little, so you want to take that and go down into first for rotation, avoiding hitting the wall. I hear that can really slow you down. Yeah, my friend had told me that at one point. Anyway, heading into the final lap now. We're about 6.3 seconds behind Peloton, who goes in for the pit, deciding to opt for the mediums, and that puts us about 13 seconds behind Vexed in first, so we've definitely got our work cut out for us. Up into third and on to this fast and windy section. Already starting to chip away a little bit at the lead, but will it be enough? The engine just taking the abuse there, redlining ridiculously, almost running off of the track and setting a best time through there though, so that's looking pretty optimistic for us as we're into the single digits behind Vexed, so things are looking good. And we didn't even spin out there. Look at that. Oof. Almost touching the dirt there, staying in second just to get the car to rotate and then hopping into third. We are still gaining on Vexed, but it's getting pretty close. It's getting pretty close, guys. Not too many corners left to trim off any time, but we try something here in a last-ditch attempt to gain a little bit of time on Vexed. Spinning out a little bit, but yeah, with that little bit of curb that we took, we pick up a penalty, so unfortunately, we're going to have to settle for P2 here, but considering where we started in P15 all the way at the back, gaining 13 positions overall, I don't know about you guys, but that's a win in my books. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you're new. And with that being said, catch you guys in the next video.